Hey there, Chem student. Welcome to video 5.3 of Unit 5. So 5.3 says this: I can convert between the number of particles and moles of an element or compound. As stated in the previous video, for this video, you will have to be comfortable with proportions. And what we will do is write a proportion and solve it algebraically. In order to get some foundational knowledge, in order to solve this problem, what we have to do is understand the relationship again between particles and moles, okay? So remember, uh, the word mole signifies a number, okay? And what is that number that one mole signifies? Remember, it's 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd particles, okay? And we can have a mole of an element or a compound, and they will both equate to 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd particles. So this relationship is what we will have to use from within a proportion in order to convert from one to the other. So let's kind of draw some arrows here showing that we're going to go from this direction there, and then we're going to go from that direction there. So here's kind of like our one rule today, okay? Set up a proportion using the above relationship. So you will not actually have to, in this specific instance, calculate a molar mass. All we will have to do is read the problem and then use the relationship above. So let's scroll down and see what we have here. So question 1 reads this: how many moles are there in 12.04 times 10 to the 23 particles of water? So something that kind of just stands out right away is notice that this is kind of a wacky number, okay? We have an exponential format, and what we will have to do is be very careful when we throw this into our calculator. That'll be about the hardest step. But what they want us to do is convert from particles, okay? And notice they say we want to convert from particles to moles. Moles is what we're finding. So let's go ahead and set up a proportion using the relationship above. So I know that 1 mole is equivalent with 6.02 times 10 to the 23 particles. And remember, when you write a proportion, something that's really critical is that the units on the top and the bottom remain the same. So moles will be in the other numerator, and then particles will be in the other denominator. So they've provided us with an amount of particles, and we're looking for moles. So the amount of particles is 12.04 times 10 to the 23, and the x that we're looking for is how many moles this equates to. So once we have this set up, what we're ready to do is just simply cross multiply. Let's write our algebraic expression and then solve for x. So here's what we got. Okay, 1 times 12.04 times 10 to the 23 is equal to x times 6.02 times 10 to the 23. So in order to solve an algebraic expression, what we have to do is try to get x by itself, okay? And in order to do that, what I always like to do is look on the opposite side of x and multiply those two numbers first. So 1 times 12.04 times 10 to the 23rd will just be 12.04 times 10 to the 23rd, because 1 times anything will result in no change. Now what we want to do is isolate x by itself, and remember, x is multiplied by this number here, so I can't just simply subtract it. What I want to do is divide this number through. So what I can do is this now. Take the sum from this side, divide that also by 6.02 times 10 to the 23. And what I should be able to do is come up with a number, and the units will be moles because that's what we're solving for. So let's go ahead and do that. So 12.04 times 10 to the 23rd divided by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd results in the number 2. So I solve for moles. So what we have is 2 moles of water if I have 12.04 times 10 to the 23rd particles. So 2 moles of H2O. That would be my final answer. So something, again, that you need to be extremely careful with is putting in these exponents into your calculator. So there's a very specific way to put it in. And what you want to do is consult with your teacher with in regards to what they think is best. But this calculation, when it goes into your calculator, you just want to make sure that these specific numbers are put in correctly. As you can see, there's a lot going on with the exponents, and it's very easy to mistake this. But if you do this correctly, okay, the answer you should come up with, again, is 2 moles of water. And please confirm with yourself here by pausing the video if you can come up with this answer. If not, it means that you are punching in numbers incorrectly, and you will have to consult with your teacher as to how to improve that. All right, let's scroll down and let's see the second question now. And here's what the second question says. How many particles are there in 5 moles of water? So notice now we're going in the reverse direction. The previous question, we went from particles to moles. Now we're going from moles to particles. They want to know how many particles are there in 5 moles of water. Okay, so remember, here is our relationship that we need to use in our proportion. 1 mole is equivalent to 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd particles. And remember, when you set that equal, put the units the same in the numerator and denominator, so mole and particles. What we have is 5 moles as a given, so we'll put a 5 at the top, and then what goes in the bottom is our x. What we are solving for is the amount of particles that is equivalent to 5 moles. So let's go ahead, let's cross multiply and figure this out. So you get x times 1, and then you get 5 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So 1 times x is just x, okay? And then all that's left to do is pretty easy. It's just multiply 5 by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So let's go ahead and do that. 5 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. And again, you have to be very careful when you put that in your calculator. And here we go. Here's the number. 3.01 times 10 to the 24th particles of water. So this would be your final answer. So as I kind of reflect on what we did here today, remember, you don't have to find a molar mass, but what's tough to me out of these problems, again, is making sure that I put in these exponential numbers into my calculator correctly. And if you know how to cross multiply, okay, and set up a proportion properly, then again, this skill is probably in the bag for you. It shouldn't take you too much time. What you absolutely need to remember is that 1 mole is equal to 6.02 times 10 to the 23 particles. And notice that this relationship is the first thing that we wrote in both examples. So there it is here, okay? And then here it is at the bottom. And then according to what I need to solve for is where I place my x. You'll get a given piece of information. In this case, it was 5 moles. We put that into the numerator, and then x is what we're solving for, the particles. We cross-multiplied and we solved for it. So that concludes our lesson here today, but please note that in today's example we used water, but really what the skill says is that you can get any element or compound. So it doesn't matter if it's a single symbol or a few symbols put together as if you've seen a compound. Just know that the example might not be water in the future. It could be a whole host of things, but the process will be exactly the same to what you've seen today. So I just want to say, hey, have a great day, and please don't hesitate to reach out to your teacher and ask them questions. See ya.